Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex here. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about some female racing drivers who are rising through the ranks and who genuinely could be racing in Formula 1 over the next couple of years. Now, I'm making this video because you may have noticed on my channel over the last couple of weeks, you may have noticed that I've done these videos where I'm saying drivers that could be into Formula 1 over the next couple of years, but none of those videos included any female racing drivers. So I wanted to make a whole video specifically about female racing drivers who are genuinely on the road to Formula 1. And if they can get the results going their way over the next couple of years, I think there's a really decent chance they could be in Formula 1. So we're going to start off with someone who's closest to Formula 1 right now, and that's GP3 driver Tatiana Coldren. She's currently the Sauber Test Reserve driver as well, but I would say that she hasn't really had the performances going her way this season. That's been quite unfortunate, really. She's in her third season of GP3, and she did 3 seasons of Formula 3 before that. So about 6 years at this level is quite a lot, and you would have hoped maybe by this stage she would be getting on the podium and getting some race wins. But unfortunately, she's with a team this year that is really struggling. We actually saw one of her teammates leave and go to a different team and start winning straight away, and he was on the same sort of level as her. So possibly it's the team this year that's really holding Tatiana Coldren back in the Genza team in the GP3. They really haven't been performing. They've only had a few points finishes this season, and Tatiana Coldren's best points finish herself this season is P6 at the most recent Monza sprint race, which was quite good because she came through the field after having a tough race in the feature race on the Saturday. She came through the field on the Sunday to get some really good points, even though she didn't get involved in the reverse grid. So she came through genuinely on pace to get a P6, which was obviously quite incredible. So I think Tatiana Coldren really needs to step it up towards the end of this year. She is 25 years old, and I guess that's old in comparison to many of the other people racing in GP3. So she really, I'd say, needs to get the points in at the end of the season, and maybe needs to be consistently battling for maybe even a top 5 results towards the end of the season to be seen as a genuine person to go to Formula 1. But maybe it won't happen in the next couple of years. But if there is no age limit to Tatiana Coldren coming into Formula 1, I do think there is some talent there. She just needs to be in the right team at the right time. She needs to just get it all together, and I genuinely think she might be getting some podiums. But whether she's in the route for Formula 1, I don't know, because of the age, I guess, is the main thing that's could be the hindrance here, because she is a lot older than the other people at her stage of progression, I guess you'd say. Many other male drivers may get in the opportunity before just because they're younger. So it's going to be interesting development over the next couple of years. As I said, Tatiana Coldren is a very good driver, but I think just needs to have the right team behind her, because she's been racing at ART and Dams the 2 seasons prior, and the results didn't go her way, so she had to sort of step back down to a Genza team who were struggling. So maybe if she can get the chance in a bit of a decent team towards the end of well, I suppose she can't really change towards the end of the season, but if she can get a good chance next year, or maybe she gets progressed into F2 next year, we'll see. I think there's some genuine pace there. It just needs to all be capitalised, and I think it all comes together. I think she can, most likely compete for some good results. Maybe not wins, but maybe some good results, that's for sure. So next up, I'm going to talk about Jamie Chadwick, who is currently racing in the Formula 3 series in Great Britain, the BRDC F3 Championship. So far this year, she's had 1 third place and 1 win, which is quite incredible. The first British, I think not even the first British driver to win F3, a female British driver. I think in the world, I think she's the only ever female driver to win at F3 level, which is quite incredible, a really great feat. Yes, it was in the reverse grid race, but it was at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, which is famously hard to overtake. So she managed to overtake some competitive drivers to get that win there. So that's a really great victory for Jamie Chadwick a couple of weeks ago, and obviously very historic at the same time. She also won the British GT4 Championship back in 2015, and I think that's quite notable as well, because at that age, she was, I think at that time, sorry, she was about 16, 17 years of age. Just to win a big championship like that so early on is quite impressive. So I think for any British F1 fans out there, Jamie Chadwick is a genuine hope for British F1 fans over the next couple of years. If she can get the progression into sort of I guess an international Formula 3 championship next year, we could probably see her battling for points and possibly podiums. But I think most likely we'll see her go into an F3 championship next year, whether that be European or international, and hopefully be very competitive. I definitely think just making sure the right team is behind her once again, a bit like Tatiana Coldren, is going to be very important, because as I've noticed over the last couple of weeks, actually I spoke to Raffaele Marcello about being in the right team. GP3 or F2 level is so important, because if you're not in the right team, you're not going to win, and it's going to be very hard to get good results if you're in a team that has a bad setup. So I think it's very important she gets herself in the right team right away and make sure that she doesn't let herself sort of slip to one of the back-end teams, because it really could be a struggle if she starts her career in Formula 3 at one of the back-end teams, because then her talent might not be sort of fully realised by the majority of the grid. So next up is Sofia Flourish. Now you may notice the name if you watched the British Touring Car Championship in the UK, because she was on the support bill of the Ginetta Juniors a couple of years ago. She came straight into that championship and won races, which is quite incredible, because the majority of winners in the British Ginetta Junior Championship are second-year drivers. A lot of the people come in at like 14 years of age, which is still crazy, and obviously take a bit of time to settle in, and understandably, and then obviously into the second season they can really go for the championship. But the fact she was able to come in, win races straight away was quite incredible. I think if you see any of those clips on YouTube, you understand she's the real deal, and she's 18 years of age right now, and she's obviously had some great success already. Last year she raced in the ADAC Formula 4 Championship in Germany. She got two podiums. It was 2 podiums last year in the ADAC Formula 4 Championship, and she's currently now racing in the European Formula 3 Championship with the same team that Max Verstappen won races, but not the championship, back a couple of years ago in 2015. So Van Amersfoort is definitely a good team with some good setups behind them, but I think they might have slightly slipped back this year. They haven't really got quite the pace of the majority of the grid, so they've been struggling somewhat, and Sofia Flourish joined halfway through the season at the Zandvoort round, meaning she didn't really have the testing of the majority of the grid, so understandably she isn't quite on the pace right now, but she's not finishing last. There are a few drivers that have been doing a couple of seasons that are behind her, and she's been pretty consistent. She's been just outside the top 10, and the F3 grid in the European F3, if you haven't watched it, it's really tight, so it's really close, and I think genuinely she's got some good pace here going into the second and maybe a third season in Formula 3. She can get some podiums, get some wins. I think there's an honest, genuine chance she could be in Formula 1 over the next couple of years. She just needs to make sure the backers are behind her, and like with the other 2 people we mentioned, we need to make sure that they're in a good team, otherwise it's going to be very hard to maximise that potential. So the next people on my list I wasn't too aware of until I started my research here, but they're slightly younger drivers, so they haven't really progressed into maybe Formula 3 level just yet. And one of them is Marta Garcia from Spain. Sorry, I'm looking down because that's where all my notes are, and obviously I don't know as much about these drivers. So she won the 2015 FIA CIK Academy Trophy in go-karts, and obviously that's a pretty impressive award. To win anything at that level is very impressive, and I'm not sure how old she was then, but she must have been like 13, 14 years of age at that stage, so that's pretty impressive for such a young driver. Now, she went into Spanish F4 last year, was quite competitive. She finished 9th place in the championship. She didn't get any podiums, but she was very competitive and genuinely on the pace of the majority of the people in that championship. But she was actually kicked off the Renault Sport program for this year. She was part of the Renault Sport program last year, and unfortunately she wasn't kept on it for this year. And she said herself that this was really weird, because she obviously saw that the pace was there throughout the whole of the season, but unfortunately she wasn't maintained for another season. She sort of understood there were some weird things going on, so unfortunately she wasn't kept, but she's gone back to go-karts now and is winning once again, so there's obviously talent here once again. So I think once again over the next couple of years, keep an eye out for her. I think that Marta Garcia genuinely once again is someone that could be progressing through the ranks and maybe make it onto the Formula 1 support category, GP3, Formula 2 over the next couple of years, and we could see her on the top step of the podium, or at least one of the steps of the podiums over the next couple of years, because the talent is so obviously there in go-karts, and now it just needs to be transferred into cars in track form. So yeah, let's see, but I think Marta Garcia is definitely someone we should be watching out for over the next couple of years. So lastly on my list is someone that I've heard about. I've heard about all these stories over the last couple of years, and it's obviously been quite impressive to hear, but it's something that we can't really definitely say just yet, because she's even started racing cars. There's a driver in Japan called JuJu Noda, who's the daughter of a racing driver who used to race in Formula 1 for a couple of events, and it's pretty incredible because she's been racing go-karts, she's been winning many races, but more impressively I guess you'd say, she's tested a Formula 4 car at the age of 10, and she's broken lap records in a Formula 3 car at the age of 12. I mean, that's absolutely incredible. I mean, yeah, I can't even imagine driving anything at the age of 10, let alone a proper racing car, and then beating records at 12. there must be a little bit of an asterisk next to those, because it's hard to tell if those cars were sort of legal in a way, because, you know, they're probably underfueled, they're probably maybe tricked out in a little bit of a way, I guess you'd say. Maybe there's a bit of a publicity stunt, but nonetheless, there's talent there. She's winning races in go-karts. I think there's obviously backing behind her. People in Japan will want to see a Japanese driver coming through the ranks, and I guess it's even better for publicity, even though it's probably not a great thing that it is all about publicity, but all the publicity already, I think it might show that she's going to get loads of sponsors over the next couple of years, and probably could be racing in Formula 3 and GP3 once she's able to, once the limit is lifted. I think it's 14 in England. I think you can race in Ginetta Juniors, and then I think it's 16 you can race in single-seaters around the world. So it'd be interesting to see what JuJu Noda does over the next couple of years with this. That talent is not just track day talent, it's actually racing talent. But I'll be really interested to see whether she can transform that pace that she's shown on the test days and in go-karts into racing cars, because of course karts and cars are a completely different story, and just because you're successful in go-karts, it doesn't mean you're going to be successful in cars, unfortunately, even though generally, if you're a top go-karter, you generally can be a pretty good racing driver as well. So lastly, I want to mention Susie Wolff's Drive to Be Different campaign, because she's been a great campaigner over the last couple of years to get females involved in motorsport, whether that be involved in racing or being a mechanic or an engineer or, you know, designer. So many different roles. It's just great what Susie Wolff has been doing, and I'm not being paid or anything by Drive to Be Different to be promoting it, but I just think it's a great thing to be, you know, involving in motorsport, because it's getting people that might not be too aware about motorsport, females who maybe growing up, there isn't really, I guess, an icon right now in motorsport, especially European motorsport. There isn't someone that's at the top of the level that's sort of promoting it in terms of racing, but Susie Wolff managed to get to the top, managed to test Formula 1 cars on official practice days, but she was never able to be an actual F1 driver in that regard. But I think the fact that she's been able to do so much great promoting, and obviously she's now doing things with the Venturi Formula E team as well, it's just fantastic. I mean, Susie Wolff is a great campaigner, and she's obviously had great talent throughout her career as well. She won many, I think, good races in go-karts, and then also through the junior formula she beat some pretty notable drivers. I think she was racing against Lewis Hamilton as well, wasn't she? It's a pretty good story if you go and read it back yourself. But overall, I just would definitely say if there are any female viewers out there watching, check out the Drive to Be Different campaign and just everything they're doing for females in motorsport. I'll leave it as a link in the description down below. Of course, I haven't done anything myself because, yeah, I don't know whether I can really be a campaigner for it, because obviously I'm not female, but I think that it's a great thing that any female that wants to get involved with this campaign and gets involved in motorsport, I just would endorse it completely, because it's a fantastic thing for all females that don't maybe have someone to look up to in that regard in Formula 1, but they know that that is possible. You know, they know there's a possibility to race in Formula 1 if they set their mind to it and they put all the goals there. It can happen. You know, it's not just because there isn't someone there right now. It doesn't mean that it's not possible for female drivers. It's just hopefully over the next couple of years it will happen. I mean, that'd be great for Formula 1, and just show that some of these comments that Carmen Jorda has made, that it's just females can't compete, is all nonsense, because let's be honest, we all know it's nonsense, and we all know that female drivers that, you know, shown them this list completely, had Tatiana Coldren, Jamie Chadwick, Sofia Flourish, JuJu Noda in go-karts, and Marta Garcia have all shown, plus many more in go-karts and other junior formula, have shown women can compete at the highest level alongside men. And yeah, I think some of Carmen Jorda's quotes weren't exactly best taken by the female motorsport community, and they didn't really help. That's to be honest, they didn't really help. So overall, I just want to say thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully if there are any female viewers out there watching, get involved with motorsport in any way you can possibly. I know maybe they're just maybe you're just a fan of motorsport, but maybe you want to take that to the next level, get involved with being a designer, mechanic, engineer, team owner maybe one day, or even a driver as well. There are so many options out there. It's not just being a driver in motorsport. So yeah, I'll leave that all in the description down below. It's probably explained a million times better on their website, but just I would endorse it fully, because it seems like a great campaign. So thanks for watching, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys all around soon. It's been Alex, I'm out here. Goodbye.